I teach philosophy at NYU. This is where I do it, at the desk, natural light, books stacked strategically behind me. I keep a vase of dead flowers in the background because it's loaded and poetic in a way that's clear but not too heavy-handed. I fell in love with dead flowers in my mid-20s for their beauty but also their convenience. I teach kids of all ages, or adults, young adults, 18 to 22, freshman to senior, from their crappy apartments, their parents' living rooms. We talk about continental rationalism and British empiricism, Descartes, Spinoza, Berkeley, Hume. Some of them do the reading, most of them skim, but they don't really want to talk about the reading anyway. They want to talk about the meta-ethics of social media, or whether inductive reasoning is causing our nation's partisan divide, which is sort of relevant. And I want Cartesian epistemology to come alive for them, so if that means talking about Claudia Conway's TikTok account, then sure. They're searching for something they can touch, fragments of the world, of themselves, that remind them that their life is real, solid, that it exists outside the walls of their crappy apartments, their parents' living rooms. I majored in philosophy at Wesleyan, got my PhD at Yale. It makes me an interesting person at parties, or certain types of parties. I get asked to solve hypotheticals, long-standing debates between couples, hot takes, and viral think pieces, the way I imagine comedians are expected to tell a joke on command. I like what I do, how it feels like work and leisure at the same time, vast yet familiar. I never thought seriously about doing anything else. I was 14 the first time I thought about philosophy. Smart, lazy, curious. There was a boy I noticed. We didn't have any classes together, but he used to hang out in the library after school, so I started hanging out in the library after school. He told me his favorite book was The Story of Philosophy by Will Durant. He promised to lend me his copy, but he kept forgetting to bring it to school, and I was so eager to have something to connect with him over that I just bought my own. I highlighted, underlined, earmarked. I studied that book harder than I've ever studied for anything in my life, studied it lovingly, held it tenderly in my little hands. We would talk about the book on AOL after school, effusive paragraphs in the chat box. We spelled everything correctly and not like the other kids. An erotic commingling of our brains. I was obsessed with it, addicted to our virtual proximity. I never told him how I felt about him. He developed a crush on a girl in my Spanish class, and our online conversations shifted to her. He told me how lucky he was to have me, how I was the only one who could understand the depth of his feeling. He tried to kiss her on a class trip to a strawberry farm, and she told everyone he smelled like baby powder and made her feel uncomfortable. He transferred to a private high school for 9th grade. We talked less and less. He went to the University of Chicago, spent a semester abroad in Shanghai, and worked at a startup in Silicon Valley. He died in his mid-20s from an undiagnosed cardiac arrhythmia. I started teaching philosophy at NYU. I'm a feminist, so I don't like to tell that story. I encourage my students to keep their cameras on to enhance the intimacy of the classroom experience, but I don't call them out when they don't. We all have our days when we need to disappear a little, just our name and a little red microphone. Or maybe I'm being too romantic. Maybe they're just watching TV in the background, folding laundry, texting, cooking, masturbating, falling asleep. It's getting harder to remember what it feels like to sit in a room full of bodies, to place your body next to another body, to feel yourself in relation to somebody else. Descartes didn't need a body to exist, and I think about all the bodies that are dying, constantly dying in waves, dying on a scale that's too big for your brain, who were always dying, but now they're dying in front of you, and suddenly you're supposed to know how to feel it, when you're forgetting how to feel yourself, and were you ever real anyway? You who built a life on a book you read to be seen by a boy who couldn't even see himself. And when you reach back into your memory for him, your mind flashes to a text box, the longing, waiting for the words to come, alone at the family desktop. I try to imagine what his heart felt like as it was fluttering out of control, the muscles around his chest twitching, blood pumping in his ears, his eyes fogging over, spinning into darkness. I put it into my body, make it happen again and again and again and again, and it's comforting how real I can make it feel.